Hey, Miss Taramina, how you doing?
I said, was his fault? Well, he didn't. He went to a park. Oh, okay. I said, hey,
Gather in, get a little closer here. It's real noisy right here. Okay, Suzanne, you ready? Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Henry Thoede, and I was born at 635 Lafayette Street on May 31st, 1899, just before the turn of the century. I was educated in local schools, including Lutheran, Public, and McDonough High. I was of a slight and wiry build. I was an enthusiastic soul with insatiable curiosity and boundless enthusiasm. I had the range of a setter and the tenacity of a bulldog. I went to work at the laboratories at Southern Cotton Oil Company right here in Gretna. I then went on to work what was called Swift & Company in Harvey. In the 20s, I began my career in journalism and went to work for the Algiers Herald, a weekly publication. I took time to serve my country in the U.S. Army Corps and was honorably discharged in 1944. On July 15, 1945, I was hired by the Times-Picayune and the New Orleans States to take over the column Over the River for the New Orleans longtime correspondent William H. Murphy. I became the West Bank correspondent for both the Times-Picayune and the New Orleans item. Assisted by my wife, the former Agnes Dellery, we operated our home at 901 Huey P. Long Avenue. I had to telephone my stories to the New Orleans office and sometimes sent the story over by way of the Algiers, of the Gretna Ferry. I acted as newspaperman and Agnes as the advertisement representative. We then moved to number 3 Holly Street, where we operated until the newspaper opened a one-story stucco building on Huey P. Long Avenue, where it had a modern machine of a teletype machine and other up-to-date newspaper equipment. My columns were very popular with the readers. In addition to being a newspaperman, I was an author and historian. I wrote a couple of booklets on the city and parish that I loved. I published a book in 1964 called The City of Gretna. It had a cover story of the newly renovated Gretna City Hall. The book depicts a colorful picture of Gretna with pictures of both current and former landmarks and officials of the city. I retired in 1974 and continued my research as an historian and continued my writings. On October 15, 1976, I published the first history of Jefferson Parish and its people. The inside cover displayed the 1975 of the parish's sesquicentennial year, and the outside cover of red, white, and blue is a map of the parish. I dedicated the book to my second wife, the Nola Billiard. My unflagging energy has given rise to the legend that I was seen in 2 or more places at one sitting. I was well known to most citizens as any public official or local businessman. One day I was sitting in Sheriff Clancy's office and Senator Kavanaugh was telling the sheriff that gambling is immoral. You see, wild gambling seemed to exist in Gretna, but nobody knew it. While the senator was talking, the sheriff excused himself for a moment. When he returned, the senator said, "Well, Sheriff, what are we going to do about this?" The sheriff said, "Let's raid the Billionaires Club across the street." When they arrived, there was no sign of gambling. They saw just 2 drunks sitting at the bar. There was a scene right out of the movie The Sting where they picked up their operation before the raid. I passed away on January 9th, 1987 at the age of 87. I'm buried in the Hook and Ladder in the tomb of Frederick and Mary Anselm, They're my grandparents. At the bottom is the stone with the inscription of Henry John Thoede, Private U.S. Army Air Corps, World War II. I have the nickname of Honeybee, which nobody seems to remember. That's because I probably gave it to myself because of my unrelenting buzzing around the city of Gretna. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of the tour.
I would like to introduce Mr. Paul Coles. He is a member of the Gretna Historical Society, and this is his 8th year acting for us, and he always does the most fantastic.
Thank you all very much. Enjoy the tour.
Good job. Thanks, Paul. You did good.